Before this video begins, I would just like to publicly state that this is for a general audience. This can be enjoyed by children and adults alike. Children under the age of 13 can enjoy this video for the Thomas & Friends brand itself. Teens and adults can also enjoy this video for its production value and nostalgia.
Thank you, Mainland Studios. Max was one of the very first tender engines to be working on the Northwestern Railway. That was until around late 1944, where he had to be sold to another railway. However, he does visit Sodor once every often. However, over the months,
Very well, Max.
his visits had become less often, until at last he no longer visits the island of Sodor anymore. With only 3 engines on the island, it was clear Sir Topham Hatt needed another engine on his railway.
Well, there is a certain engine that is available in my workshop. He's from the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway, and he is a mixed traffic engine capable of hauling both passengers and freight, if you're interested in purchasing it.
Well then, you've sold me. I'll be right over.
At last, the day came for the newest engine to arrive, and there it was, black as coal, approaching the station a little too quickly.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, that was kind of rude.
Sorry, sir. I, forgot to sand the rails.
No worries, no harm done. Everyone, meet our newest engine. And what is your name?
James, sir.
Hello, I'm Henry, and this is Gordon.
And my name is Edward.
After the whole meet and greet, Sir Topham Hatt had decided to take James to Crovan's Gate for a new whistle as well as the new number 5. But no one bothered to check James's braking, which made the engines have a big concern for him. As James reversed into the shed, he can hear the others muttering. And he knew what they were muttering about right off the bat.
Sheesh, I thought I was the only engine with issues.
Now we have an engine with brake problems. Is there a campfire nearby?
No, Gordon. It's my wooden brake blocks.
Wooden brake blocks, but won't that cause?
Fire? As long as I'm careful, no.
The engines were rather confused on why James had wooden brake blocks and not normal metal ones. So James explained the whole story. Back in 1912, when he was first constructed, he was nearly completely built, but there wasn't enough metal to build brake blocks. So they decided to go with a different material, which was wood.
Perhaps I can teach you how to stop at a destination appropriately tomorrow morning, if there's time.
James decided to take Edward's word and went to sleep. The next day, James got up bright and early, eager to learn how to brake properly. He looked around to find Edward shunting. And so, the training began. But braking was easier said than done.
Too early. You must apply your brakes slowly. A tad bit late. Just remember, James, don't apply your brakes when you're at your destination. Apply your brakes when you're approaching your destination on sight.
The training was shortly interrupted when Sir Topham Hatt came to James and announced that he had a job for him. Feeling disappointed, but still wanted to be useful, James decided to work. James's first assignment was to take some wheat to the bakery. It was needed to be turned into bread. So far, the journey went flawless. That was until they approached Gordon's Hill. As James surpassed the crest, one of the trucks noticed that James' brake box was smoking. Ah! Get him away! Get him away! We don't want to see smoke and fire!
Hey now, stop that.
Then, trouble laid ahead. The gates were closed, and a traction engine was approaching.
Oh no!
James braked as hard as he could. At last, he stopped, with the buffers and coupling hook ever so slightly denting the gates. And when they opened, James continued his way. Luckily, he was right on time. But he was still shaken from the crossing incident. And he was also worried that Sir Topham Hatt would find out. The workmen uncoupled the train, and James nervously went back to Knapford. But as he looked along the platforms, it was much to his relief that Sir Topham Hatt was nowhere in sight. But then his relief was short-lived when a man came running up.
Help! Help, please! I've missed my train and the steamboat leaves in 1 hour. Please take me to the harbor.
James couldn't neglect his pleading.
Hop on.
The man hopped into his cab, and the race was on. But along the way, James got concerned about his braking abilities. But he remembered what Edward told him.
Just remember, James, don't apply your brakes when you're at your destination. Apply your brakes when you're approaching your destination on sight.
James promised to brake slowly. At last, Knapford Harbor was on sight, and James started to brake ever so slowly. Gordon was sizzling nicely in the sun when he heard a gentle screeching. It was James with a forgotten passenger.
Thank you so much, James. Splendid timing.
You're welcome, sir.
Sir Topham Hatt had heard about James's act and was very pleased. As an award, he allowed James to pull some coaches, specifically running on a couple of branch lines. But as James started to depart, Sir Topham Hatt noticed something. He took a good look at James's number and counted backwards from James, Gordon, Henry, and Edward, and realized that he had no number 1. It was clear that he needed a new station pilot and a new number 1. But that, my friends, is another story.